All right. We're live, Eric.
All right. Good morning, Tellman.
You know what time it is?
It's time to get shit done.
It is, in fact, time to get shit done. Awesome. January 30th, episode 30 of the Daily Get Shit Done show. Welcome to the party, everyone. It's Thursday, and we are going to talk all about how to turn ideas into action today. So, let's see. Eric, you just finished up on day 2, and you're about to go into day 3 of Brunson's selling online one-to-many training. So it'll be interesting to hear about that today.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that you're on information overload.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's just like a massive pile of information in my head. So yeah, I'm going to need to spend some time just kind of decompressing and sorting all that information and sifting and finding what's most applicable to what I'm doing now and make an action plan and start implementing.
Exactly. Awesome. Yep. Awesome. So, what are you excited about? What's your positive focus for the day?
My positive focus is, well, I'm learning a ton of great stuff in this training, and I feel really excited about that and see all the ways that I can take a lot of what I'm learning quickly and put that into action. That's going to really help me with the things that I'm already doing. And then there's other elements of it that I can see are going to really help me moving forward, like off on the horizon a little bit. Like when I start moving more into automation and like I find my evergreen webinar and then, making a funnel with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're inspired. You're inspired for the future based on some of the stuff you've learned recently.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's awesome. That's great. Let's see. What am I excited about today? Well, one, it looks like a beautiful, beautiful day out. So I'm definitely looking forward to an awesome run this afternoon. I'm feeling a lot better. I've been like sick for a week and a half. So
I know, right?
I'm still a little bit nasally, but like I woke up and had an awesome yoga workout this morning. Looks beautiful out today. And so I'm really looking forward to some outside time.
Great. Yeah. Glad you're feeling better. Yeah.
My energy and power is back. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Great.
Cool. All right, dude. Well, so let's get into it. Right. So you did day 2. What was the theme of day 2's training yesterday?
Day 2, they were really preparing everybody for the pitch. And it was a bit of a pitch fest yesterday. And, on the one hand, it's like, oh man, I thought we were going to be learning training today. But on the other hand, it's kind of part of the training. It's like, if you allow it to be part of the training and look at what they're doing while they're pitching you, this is all the stuff they've been teaching us the entire time.
Right.
And you get to reverse engineer it and like pick it apart and look at the different elements and like, oh, there's that thing you taught us yesterday. And there's that other thing. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is mastering the art of not reacting adversely when you realize you're being pitched.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a marketer, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a salesperson and you're trying to get better at selling stuff, you're gonna get pitched by things that are by people that are teaching you how to sell stuff. And if you have a chip on your shoulder about that, you're done.
Yeah, totally.
You can't go forward. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you're just grumpy.
Yep.
And resistant. And you're not going to be able to take in any of the lessons that you're learning. And you're not going to choose to invest in yourself any further to go forward with your training because you're being resistant. So it's just kind of being stubborn, right?
Right.
And so, all right, I'm going to attempt to answer. We have a question in today. I think Ike is one of your guys. Is it?
Yeah.
Ike?
Hey, how's it going?
Ike wants to know what's going on here.
What's going on here? So we are discussing how to take. Okay, so just a little backstory. I've been going through this really intensive 3-day training. I'm on about to start day 3 of it. So I've gone through 2 really full days of all day long training with Russell Brunson on online selling skills and tactics. And yeah, it's just kind of like brain overload. So the topic of today's discussion is how to take a big pile of ideas that's overwhelming to where it's almost like blocks you from action because it's so much. How to take that and dump it out of your brain, organize it and sift it, and come up with the most effective action plan moving forward.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right. He says, I see this live broadcast every time I hop on your profile. Yeah, that's because we do it every day. We've been doing this broadcast every day for the last 30 days. Ike says, good breakdown is how to eat an elephant, right?
Right. One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. I mean, it's true. That's actually your answer. We're done now.
There it is. Yep.
Right. No, but so all right, I have some very clear strategies on this.
Great.
Right? So people will use information overload as an excuse not to take action.
Mm-hmm.
Paralysis by analysis. Then people will also use perfectionism as a reason not to take action.
Yep.
People will say, I don't know what to do as an excuse not to take action. I haven't learned, right? Yep. I can't afford it, but then they don't go through the free version and they still don't take action. So there are a lot, you can think of every excuse in the book not to consistently take action moving forward in the direction of your goals. Because there are a lot of good, like justifiable reasons that you can come up with, right? Information overload is one of them. Yep. And so that's the first thing to remember is that you're in like a 3-day process. It's a drop in the bucket. You're going to forget most of what you learned. It's okay. It's okay, right? You're learning every day and moving forward. However, this happens to people when they, these 3-day virtual challenges, which is kind of how this has some challenge elements involved. Russell's done a lot of challenges. Pedro Adeo, I think, kind of crystallized the challenge model. I know Russell and Pedro are friends. And so this 3-day model for like $37 or whatever it is a model that Russell's been running for a while. This is a new one. And it's kind of like doing a 3-day launch, right? It's also a little bit like doing a 3-day conference. And when you go to a 2 or 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday conference, like a marketing conference, whether it's on a specific topic the whole time and there's, a couple of speakers or whatever doing trainings, or whether it's a summit type event with a whole bunch of different speakers, some or all of them pitching at the end of their talks. In both cases, you're going to meet a bunch of people in your market or industry. You're going to hang out with some leaders in your market or industry, and you're going to learn a bunch of stuff. And you're going to learn way more stuff than you have the ability to take action on right now.
Right.
And so the first step is something that you do before the event starts. So sorry, I didn't share this with you before the event started. I didn't think to, which is you decide before you're going into the event what it is that you're looking to accomplish, to check off your shit list, so to speak, while you're in the event, while you're at the event. Because there's a lot more that you can write down or that you can accomplish than just attending the webinar and learning about blank. Okay.
Right.
So what I like to do when I'm going to seminars is, for me, seminars are about meeting people, regardless of what I'm learning or what the nature of the seminar is or how it's structured or whether it was low cost, whether it was high cost, whether it's going to be 20 people in a mastermind or 2,000 people in a giant, room in Vegas.
Right.
I'm interested in how I can move my business and dreams forward as a result of spending thousands of dollars in a plane ticket and a hotel room and overpriced meals and all the things. How do I make that worth it? So what is it that I'm aiming to do? What are my intentions on making something awesome happen? And so for me, that very often is, I want to meet someone who blank. Okay.
Right,
someone who I want to find some new list owners in the personal development space I can do cross promotions with. I want to find someone who's won the school games that I could team up with and learn from about winning school. I want to find someone who's a good chief operations officer to help handle some of the more day-to-day operations and organizational infrastructure of my company as it's growing beyond startup phase. I want to find a hungry customer support person that already knows sales or really would like to learn sales so that we can turn our customer support team into a sales team. I mean, I want to find an amazing graphic designer. I want to find somebody who knows tons about NFTs. I want to find someone who is on the cutting edge of crypto that could be a good potential product creator for me to publish with my publishing company. I mean, there's no end to the types of connections that you might want to make for your business at a given marketing conference or seminar.
Sure. Yep.
The problem is you need to make up your mind on what you're doing before you go to the seminar. And this usually means you need to have your mind made up on about what you're doing way before you even heard about the seminar starting. You have to be on a trajectory already. You got to be clear on what your goal is and what direction you're going in. And because otherwise, it's shiny object syndrome full force.
Oh, totally.
Okay? If you don't know what you want or what direction you're hoping to move in, you're going to be distracted by everything and everyone.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And it's just going to be like a meaningless ADD, scattershot or whatever. And so that's the first thing, is have a very clear list of what connections you want to make, who you want to meet, what you want to learn, what you want to accomplish, specific fact that you want to get clear on. Maybe you want to ask get clarity about a very specific question about something, whatever it is. Maybe you want to find out about job or internship opportunities at the company who's putting on the seminar. I mean, whatever,
Right.
And you might not get what you want. This is the other thing, is that very often you don't get what you want. You get something better or slightly different that helps propel you forward in a different way than you intended. But having a clear direction helps to it helps to put everything into focus before you show up. So that's number one. Anytime you're going into any of the, and with virtual events, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? Same problem. You're not spending you're not having meals with people,
right?
You know what I mean? It's not exactly the same, but the types of opportunities are very similar. If you have specific questions you want to ask, write them down before the event starts or before the day starts, and then ask them in the Q&A section because you already have them written down and fully formulated in front of you in your notebook.
Right.
It's like plan ahead a little bit, not a ton, just a little.
Yeah. Okay.
On a seminar, I'll often jot down my notes on what do I want to accomplish, who I want to meet or whatever on the plane, for example, right? So that's the first thing, but that's already passed. So the second thing is that, so this is actually really, really, really cool. So remember the other day when I asked ChatGPT to create a action plan to do weekly webinars, and I actually, let me see here. Yeah. Okay. What do you mean unable to load conversation? So I'm looking at this weekly webinar task plan that I created with ChatGPT, and I feel like, did I do that live on a call or did I do that separately?
I think it was during a call we were having, but I don't think we're live streaming at the time.
Right. Okay. So here's what I did, guys. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, and this was on Eric's behalf, okay, but it was also on my behalf. If I wanted to do a weekly webinar to grow my business, grow my email list, and sell more Kagan water ionizers and the opportunity to become a Kagan distributor, can you create me a daily task list of exactly what I need to do every day to create a successful webinar each week for 12 weeks? Okay. It was a long sentence.
Yeah.
but it was one sentence, fairly detailed. And ChatGPT gave me a 12-week daily action plan, exactly what you need to do each day in order to pull that off. Okay, weekly webinar, make each one better, and it's awesome. It can be improved, but like you can put that on a Google Doc, you can turn it into a task list, you can get up in the morning and know what you're doing every day for the next 90 days in order to get better at doing webinars and sell stuff on your webinars, right? And so the first thing that I would do is I would take all of your notes, and if you need to, verbalize your notes into ChatGPT, so you get a transcribed version using the audio the audio feature. Or copy and paste transcripts of the training. If you can take recordings of the training and get it transcribed, maybe they'll give you transcripts. Upload it to ChatGPT so that it has the knowledge that you've learned in the course.
Great. Yeah, they're going to send me the notes, the official notes of the whole 3-day event.
Great.
So yeah, I can use that.
So you take it'll be hundreds of pages, I would hope.
I would hope.
If it's transcripts, it's going to be hundreds of pages. But if it's whatever. And there are ways you can get audio and video files transcribed cheap or free, right? And if you wanted to, you could literally take the whole thing. There are probably AI tools where you can just upload audio files, and anyway, the point is that whether you're using your written notes and you verbalize them, whether you're uploading notes or transcripts, you can upload some or all of what you've learned to the ChatGPT brain or the AI brain that you're using, right? And then you can proceed to say, hey, here's my situation. Here's what I'm looking to do. What's my action plan to take all of this and implement it in the next 90 days?
I like that. Yeah.
Right.
That's a great idea.
And just have ChatGPT instantly organize it for you. Okay. So this is something that's available to each and every one of us for free, and a better version if you pay a little bit. Right. And what it gives you is it gives you a digital coach. All right. You have to initiate with the coach, though. You have to be the person that's initiating, but it really gives you a $20 a month supersonic mega digital coach, right?
True. I know.
That knows amazing. All the information that you need, and a lot more. And so this is one piece that you can use, and you could, in order to get organized. The third piece, Eric, is out. If you're not going to use ChatGPT, and if you didn't decide ahead of time what it is you wanted to get out of the seminar or the training, and just focus on checking those items off your list, then the third thing is, okay, the training's done. I know you have one more day, but training's done. You are in information overload because you're getting fire hosed with information for 3 days. And that is exactly how you're supposed to feel.
Right.
And the reason that you're supposed to feel that way is because there's a coaching and implementation program that's going to be sold that's either a done with you or a done for you on the back end of all this that Russell's probably going to pitch.
Yeah, no, that happened yesterday.
Great. So the initial workshop was what, $37?
It was $100.
$100. Okay, cool. Yep. And how much was the first offer he made yesterday?
It was a $10,000 offer.
Great. And was it a like a coaching program?
Yep.
For how long?
I think it was some sort of a lifetime thing.
Cool.
Yep.
Is there like a multi-week or multi-month thing involved, or is it like are they gonna, like, what's the offer?
Honestly, I was at a point of just utter exhaustion, and I was not as present during the pitch as I was at other parts of the training.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was kind of just decompressing
Cool.
from the whole thing. And I
Cool.
was,
So,
yeah,
yeah. All right.
really
Fair enough.
exhausted.
So
So yeah, I don't know like
let,
the specific details of what the offer was.
cool. Well, some sort of done with you type of coaching program for 10 grand. Great.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Probably helping you to organize and put all of the stuff that you just learned into a step-by-step format that you can put into action over the next year to max, right?
I mean, yeah, that was the gist of it. It was like, okay, we'll give you the framework, but you're not going to know how to implement it and do it correctly unless we hand hold you and like walk you through the process. So here's the opportunity for that.
Right.
For life, exactly. For 10 grand. Yep.
Right. And so for $100,
yep.
Basically, when all is said and done, over the course of 3 days, for $100, what are you going to learn how to do?
So what are my biggest takeaways? What am I going to take?
What's the course itself that you're taking right now? What's the big promise? What are you going to learn how to do as a result of this course? What is it teaching you how to do?
It's teaching me how to make a better webinar, how to sell one-to-many. And today we're going to be learning about like persuasion and influence and that kind of thing.
But he's teaching you how to do a better webinar.
Yeah, that was my intention going into it. It was like, that's why I signed up for it. Is that I'm learning webinars right now. I'm doing my very first webinars and I want to get better at them. And yeah, this training was specifically geared towards that. So
great.
Yep.
So I know you have a whole nother day today and there's probably bonus materials and all sorts of other stuff, but what are the top 3 things you've learned so far in day 1 and day 2 that you can use to implement to make a better webinar than the one that you did on Tuesday?
Yeah. I mean, immediately what comes to mind is incorporating stories into my next webinar here moving forward. And yeah, what they shared on the first day about how, facts, when you just state facts, it's speaking to your conscious brain and not your subconscious. And just in order to speak to the subconscious mind, to really cultivate a feeling and emotion in somebody that would compel them to buy, you speak in stories. And then it helps that person that you're speaking to kind of put themselves, like visualize them as the character in the story, to where they're having an emotional experience and response to the story you're telling. So yeah, that was probably the most potent takeaway I've gotten from this.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So storytelling, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing your name, but I'm going to say Natasha.
Natasha. Yeah. She's a good friend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Natasha,
hi, Natasha.
Who do you like? Who's taught you about webinars? I'm curious who you're a fan of. There are a bunch of people that teach webinars that are very good at it. Russell's been doing webinars for years, of course. Jason Fladlian is super smart with webinars. I'm curious who you're into, Natasha. So thanks for tuning in. So storytelling. Are there any other important points, takeaways, tactical or strategic, that would be like that would make your webinar better?
Yeah, I mean, making it more about my prospective clients. Yeah, and not just about the product and opportunity, but about what's the big promise? Cool, here's the product and the opportunity, but what can you do with that? How's that going to impact your life? And what's the dream and what's the big problem that it's going to overcome?
Right.
And incorporating that into a webinar. And,
great.
Using stories to convey that, I think, is a powerful way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got stories. Make it more about them, less about you and the product.
Yep.
Anything else?
Building belief. So there's that whole epiphany bridge where you help your people believe that it's possible for themselves, and to help walk them through that process. I think which you can do through storytelling to help build that self-belief. that not only is it possible for other people, but since it's possible for other people, it's possible for them to do it also.
Totally.
And yeah, then just kind of the idea of, what is it costing you to not take action on your dreams? That's a powerful statement.
But I agree that belief is important, but what can you, so storytelling is, look, I can tell more stories in my webinars.
Sure.
Having it be more focused on the customer and client journey and experience than me just talking about how awesome I am and talking about how awesome Kagan is and talking about how awesome the opportunity and the product and the comp plan is. Really focusing in on how am I helping my people? Like how is this going to help my people? Right. Those both make sense. Belief is a harder one. It's more slippery, right? Like, okay, how do you incorporate belief into your webinar? I mean, yes, it's an important concept, but like get shit done style. What are you going to do with that?
Right. So, I mean, I guess giving examples of people that are in a similar situation as people starting out or looking into this and showing, the motions they went through and the struggles they went through and what they've accomplished with it and the things they've overcome. So that would be one way.
Yeah, that's basically testimonials and case studies.
Right. Yep.
Potentially even getting people on the webinar with you, like when we talked about bringing other people on,
right?
In your upline, for example, right? As many people as possible. Get out all sorts of different people from all sorts of different walks of life. Different genders, different races. All these types of things can help people directly identify and connect, even if they don't connect that well with you.
Sure. Yep.
Right. Cool. Great. Those are 3 great examples. So, has Russell spoken about how often you should do webinars?
I don't believe he mentioned. I mean, I think he was talking about weekly webinars. Yeah, he has a whole framework of what to do each day of that framework. Yeah, it's like promote, the webinar, then you push out the replay of the webinar, and then you rinse and repeat over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then you get the one that hits real good, and then you turn that into an evergreen webinar, put it into a funnel.
Does this sound familiar?
Sounds familiar, Tellman. This is the stuff you've been telling me all along.
Yeah, okay. Good. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So that's another thing, even though we were talking about it before, is do a weekly webinar. If you're going to do webinars, get good. Like do at least one a week, right?
Right.
So that's killer. That's really great, Eric. So the reason I wanted to really focus on this part of the conversation is because that just gave you 3 tactical ways that you can take some of the stuff that you learned and make a better webinar, even if you don't attend the rest of the training on day 3. I'm saying you should attend the rest of the training. Yeah. Like even if something prevented you from doing that, you already got well more than your $100 worth.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Right. And no one is requiring you to sign up to a $10,000 coaching program.
Exactly.
You can if you want and you can afford it, but you don't have to in order to bring what you've learned to the bank. And that's the key, right?
That is the key. Yep.
So doing something like, okay, in my next webinar, I'm going to add a big story component. And the one after that, I'm going to add I'm going to do weekly webinars. I'm going to add a story component in next week. And then the following week, I'm going to add in I'm going to shift my language and focus. So it's more about their story and less about Kagan. And then the third one, I'm going to do a testimonial or a case study from somebody in my upline, and now you've got some action plans for the next 3 weeks, and it's only changing one little thing in each webinar, right? That might take a couple hours of your time to add in or extrapolate on, or whatever. And there's probably 500 other little tidbits that you've learned along the way. And so so don't let the information overload prevent you from taking immediate action. That's really the key, is based on what you know so far, what can you do today to make more money, right? What I love to do is to go to seminars or take virtual conferences and to implement what I learned that day to make my money back from the training before, the next day of the training.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a copywriting seminar, I learned something about email, and I'll write a new email that night and send it out to my list so I have some results to talk about the next morning of the conference, right? Yep. That kind of stuff. So the biggest thing is, remember, like you probably got the recordings of this thing, and you don't have to implement everything all at once. If you try to implement everything all at once, you're probably going to do a crappy job.
Right.
So I would recommend that you implement the lowest hanging fruit, really, the most achievable pieces that you can implement as quickly as possible. And then if it's a great training, go back through it a few times, and really.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's some pieces that I want to go back through, and there's some pieces from the first day that I missed while I was presenting my webinar that I haven't had a chance to watch
in the last
yet.
couple hours. Exactly.
Yep.
Right. Right. So, does that address your question, or is there more?
Yeah, no, that helps. Yeah. Ultimately I just need to get clear and like have a chance to decompress from the event and sort and sift and get busy.
What do you mean when you say, so I've heard people say this before, but I don't really have this experience. So I'm kind of challenging you on it, but maybe it's not a challenge. Maybe you're just going to explain what is this decompress from the event? Why, how, why is that even necessary for you?
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know, picture it like, I don't know, you mentioned the fire hose, right?
Yeah.
Picture the fire hose is attached to a balloon and it's just like inflating, full of information. And that's kind of like my head right now. Just reeling with information from this event. It's just blasted, right? So to decompress, it's like emptying out that balloon into like a big wide like pool. And then you can kind of look at everything with a bird's eye view instead of just being like,
all right.
And then kind of having that oversight to where you're able to look at everything and sort it out and put it into, level of priority of, this is great information, but this is something I'm going to use a little bit later. This is something I can use right now, and that kind of thing.
That's interesting. Yeah. For my experience, I don't really take the time to do that sorting phase. I usually just take what I can see that I can implement right away, and I do it. And then figure I'll remember the rest of the stuff later if it's appropriate.
Sure.
But I know that everybody works a little differently too.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big things that happens to people with conferences and seminars, whether it's in personal development or in marketing and entrepreneurship, is they learn a whole lot. They get really excited. They get fired up. They get inspired. They get motivated. They meet a bunch of new people, exchange a bunch of phone numbers and business cards, and then go back and don't know what to do. Over the next few weeks end up the high wears off and you're stuck in exactly the same situation you were before. You're like, wait a second.
What was the point? Yeah.
So I encourage you not to decompress for too long. Put something into action as soon as you can.
Right. No, absolutely. And I've been decompressing during this call and making a list of this is my brain dump right here. And I feel like I have a really good action plan already.
Cool.
Yeah.
For you, have there been some Q&A sections in this training?
There was a little bit of one at the end of yesterday's session, but the main Q&A section, it's on a separate it was basically a separate offer. It's a whole separate day of Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
And it was an upsell, and I didn't
cool. All right.
I didn't opt into that one.
Yeah, I guess I was curious if there was any interesting comments or resistance or reasons that people were coming up that it wouldn't work for them or that kind of stuff that you noticed, but it might not be an open conversation training. I don't know how he's presenting it.
Right. I guess the Q&A that happened yesterday, it wasn't people that were on the call. They had they were, had the presentation in a small conference room with, maybe it looked like there was maybe 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
And it was the people physically present in that room. I don't think it was even live. I think it was a pre-recorded thing, but
Interesting. Okay,
yeah,
cool. And so is all this on Zoom?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, so far, how would you rate it as a training on a scale of 1 to 10 at this point?
Excellent. Yeah, I'd give it a 10. I mean, yeah,
All
I've
right.
gotten a ton out of it, and
Great.
yeah, well worth the $100, well worth the time spent sitting there and taking it all in, being present, taking notes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Rock and
And
roll.
one thing that he did that I thought was really cool, and I kind of regret not getting on it and pushing it out, but he gave the opportunity to be an affiliate for the program where you get 100% of your commission. So you can make your money back in one sale and then
Right.
make $100 on top of that. He just
Right.
wanted to fill seats
Right.
for his big upsell at the end. So
Totally.
yep.
Cool. Well, I mean, something to do in the future,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, Russell's great. I
Yep.
have a lot of respect for Russell. Smart dude. He's been pushing hard for a long time, and he's a good marketer. So,
Yeah.
really, really cool. Really cool. So, yeah, I mean, are there other questions that you have about really getting into motion with getting good at webinars?
I guess something I need to focus on. I mean, a big element that I want to add into my webinars here moving forward is storytelling. And something that Russell mentioned was having, an inventory of stories that you can weave into your presentations. And yeah, I feel like that's something I really need to work on. I don't know if I have a specific question about it, but it's just something I'm aware of that I need to spend some time working on, is finding what, whether they're testimonials, whether it's interviews with people that have had a powerful experience with the opportunity or with the product or whatever, however it goes, however I can best fit that into my webinar. Yeah, I need to come up with an inventory of stories that I can, pick and choose from.
Cool. Well, this is a little bit different than that, but
Okay.
there's a really great copywriter who
All right.
used to be very well known, and I feel like, at least in the direct response circles, I feel like he's less well known now. But he's an amazing writer. His name is Andre Chaperon. Chaperon. Chaperone is the American pronunciation. And his website is AndreChaperon. He, back in the day, he wrote a program called ARM, Autoresponder Madness. And that was, I think, his first work. And he taught people how to write soap opera sequences with email autoresponder sequences using soap opera style drama and storytelling to keep people engaged, interested, and do psychological open loops that people would then want to read your future emails. And it helps create really good, like, think about it like a series of chapters in a book, except each chapter is an email, and you want to keep turning the pages, and so anyway, Andre, his most recent thing is called Tiny Digital Worlds. And he says, I write about sovereign creators who can build digital worlds around their novel idea, theme, or expertise. And so anyway, very interesting guy. I believe very dyslexic, yet an astounding writer. And he teaches people how to write with story, right? And he's a very good direct response marketer. So,
all right.
And he does teach people, how to use good writing and storytelling to build their businesses. So that might be something that you're interested in. He's more of an artist than he is a marketer, but he's a great marketer,
All right, cool.
So yeah, I would definitely suggest you pay attention to him. The other thing
Yeah, I'll look him up.
is on your stories, think about where you have life stories rather than Kagan stories.
Right.
Okay?
Sure. Okay.
Where do you have interesting stories about life and how going through that experience helped to shape you as a human being?
Yep.
How some story helped to shape you as an artist. How, so for example, you have a story about your 20-year block as an artist.
Yep.
And how one of the things that helped you to unlock that was hypnosis, right? And so that's a good story to tell, in particular if we're doing a Get Shit Done webinar together and we talk about hypnosis and whether or not it works and what kind of impact it can have on people. And like, that's a great example of a story to tell.
Sure.
You could talk about living in, another one of your stories is living in Hawaii and building this house by hand by yourself on your farm and having music festivals there and having this awesome, like, off-grid dream life, yet you found yourself consistently financially struggling and needing to take all this, part-time crap work, just to make ends meet. And like, you're trying to make your dream come true, but like, financially it wasn't there. So what do you do?
Right.
Well, here's what I did. Right. And so that's another story, right?
Exactly.
Is the off-grid Hawaiian hippie house building story, right?
Totally. Yeah, for sure.
So the stories don't have to be directly connected to entrepreneurial success, though it's cool if they are.
All right.
And your stories will grow and evolve, especially as you see higher and higher and greater levels of success and bigger and better things happen. Then you'll have more cool, exciting stories to tell. But I would definitely recommend like your character development stories, like the pivotal moments in your life that really helped like teach you a lesson about like an important value or moral or a way that you now are and now behave as a result of going through that experience, and those will continue to come to you as you write emails, as you write blog posts, as you create webinars. Stories are great across the board in all marketing, not just webinars, right?
Right. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Just reflecting back on the training yesterday, there was a large segment where they had a whole panel of different speakers come up and just tell their stories.
Do you remember who any of them were?
I'm not remembering anybody's name off the top of my head. One that really stood out, her name was Jamie. I can't remember her last name, but she started off like really broke, but she wound up building a $1 billion with a B business.
All right. Rock and roll.
Yeah. And yeah, she walked us through this whole journey with that. And one thing that really stood out is she succeeded in triggering a lot of emotion in the entire conference room. It was a pre-recorded segment from the Funnel Hacking Live event. So it was like a large audience. And she was kind of walking around, like weaving through the crowd with the microphone, and she brought it down to a low tone and just really, had people in the room in tears. And I can't remember specifically what she was talking about when that was happening, but like, I wasn't in tears, but I definitely felt just like an emotional response to her storytelling. And
cool.
Yeah, that really stood out.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. I remember back in the day, Dagan Smith created this sales process called the invisible funnel. And I've used it several times. And he taught it to Russell. And then Russell, this is before ClickFunnels. Okay. And then Russell and Dagan did a workshop on the invisible funnel, and I went to the workshop. And the idea of the invisible funnel is you don't have to do it with a video, but at the time everybody was doing it, had a video that sold people on attending this workshop. Half day workshop, 3-4 hours. And to attend, it was $0 now, and then you were going to be charged $197 after the workshop was over, $99 after the workshop was over, whatever it is, the day after.
Mm-hmm.
And if you attend the workshop and it's no good and you hate it and you think it's bogus and wasn't worth the money, just send us an email. We're going to give you a special email address during the workshop, so you can send us an email at the end and let us know you want your money back, and your card won't be charged. So $0 down. You'll be charged at the end. If you don't like it, we're going to give you a special email during the workshop so that you can get a refund before you even get charged. Fair? Fair. And so then what you do during the workshop is you teach your entire process. Like you flow chart it out, and maybe there are 400 components to your entire business blueprint, whatever it is you're teaching. And for 4 hours straight, you go into granular detail. You give the entire business model. Okay. The only experience that people end up having is overwhelm. Because so much information is delivered. So it's like doing a 3-day event in 3 hours.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, like, imagine, Richard Branson has, over 200, 300 companies. It's probably more by now in the Virgin Empire. Imagine if Branson taught a blueprint for how he launches new companies. My entire business launch blueprint, soup to nuts, beginning to end, how I bring a new company into the world. I'm going to show you the entire process. Okay. Like, I've launched 300 companies. I know what I'm doing. Check this out. Right. I'm going to teach you the entire process. So inevitably you're learning about a whole bunch of stuff that's brand new to you. Mm-hmm. You're learning all these new terms. You're learning all this technical information. In the case of business and marketing and direct response marketing, you're learning like copywriting stuff. You're learning traffic stuff. You're learning sales stuff. Again, granular detail. You're actually going into detail on how everything works, showing people behind the scenes numbers, logins to your various software tools, and showing people how you use that on a day-to-day basis. You show like full tour, high speed.
Right. Okay.
Now it's recorded, and they get the recording. And they can go through it as many times as they want, but it's also like a 4-hour-long training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end, they give you an email that you can email to make sure your card isn't charged if you didn't get value. But like, if you're on to the end, you got great value.
Right. You're not going to sit there and watch it if you're not holding you. Yep.
At the same time, the reason that they do it that way, or did it that way, I haven't seen anyone use one of these in quite a few years, but the reason they did it that way is to get everybody that bought, the highest percentage of people that bought, to actually get on the webinar and get on the training and be there and be present, instead of just buying it and waiting for the recordings later or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, we're going to give you the key to backing out of this, but you have to show up in order to back out.
Oh, because they didn't get the cancellation email unless they attended the event.
Yeah, gotcha. We're going to give it to you at the end of the training.
Right.
So you can judge whether or not it was beneficial and worth it. Right. Which honestly, in order to judge whether or not it's actually beneficial and worth it, you have to go through the training. That's kind of how it works. And then what would happen is, at the end of the training, it was like, okay, well, so I know this is a lot to take in. And as you can imagine, it's a lot to implement. If you want to go ahead and implement this, please do it. If you have the resources, if you have the staff, if you have the team, the knowledge, the expertise, run with it. Some people have the ability to do that, right? It's okay. But most people who have the ability to do that also have the experience, intelligence, wisdom to know that saving time in order to implement something that complex is incredibly valuable. And if I can get it implemented in 30 days instead of 90 days, I'm going to make a lot more money a lot faster. So of course I'm going to give you $25,000 to implement it for me in the next 30 days so I can be up and running without having to redirect my entire staff and all my resources and all their day-to-day activities to do this brand new thing just because I went to a seminar, right? And so in most cases, it's a significantly better investment to invest in the high-end coaching or the high-end done for you than it is to try to do it for yourself, because you are going to screw it up and miss all sorts of details because you've never done it before, right?
Sure. Yep.
So it's a similar model. Like what you're going through now is kind of an evolved over about a decade model of what I just outlined.
Interesting.
But
yeah.
At the same time, it's incredibly valuable to do a workshop like this and teach people everything that you know and everything that you need in order to implement it for the determined among the students who are going to go and implement it, even though they don't have the financial resources to join the coaching program, or the willingness, or a little bit of both. You now have the blueprint, and anybody who is like, if you're doing work parties every day, if you have an action item list, if you're getting up and getting into it, if you're doing weekly webinars, etc., like, you can implement the majority of this on your own over a longer period of time without having to spend the 10 grand. That's also true,
Right.
So, anyway, these are the way these models evolve over time. And it's a way of selling higher and higher level stuff while giving all of your best stuff away at the same time.
Yep.
Because as we've learned with Get Shit Done, like, accountability is such a big piece.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Information's easy, guys. Like, you can learn everything that you need to have a successful business online from YouTube for free right now.
True.
Okay.
But are you going to do it?
Are you going to do it? Are you going to organize it yourself? Are you going to have the self-confidence to turn it into a structure? Are you going to get up in the morning? Are you going to stick to your schedule? Are you going to complete those things? Are you going to learn from your failures? I mean, some people, yes. Most people need some sort of coach, in order to make it through the downtimes, So, speaking of which, we are gearing up to do something really cool with Get Shit Done, guys. So we are going to do a Get Shit Done boot camp. And if you are not part of the Get Shit Done community already, I strongly urge you to join us at getshitdone.com. We have a paid entrepreneurial community. We train entrepreneurs to get shit done. If you're a solopreneur, if you're a wantrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, and you want to increase your productivity for yourself and your team, getshitdone.com is the place to go. This is the first official announcement. We are going to be doing a Get Shit Done boot camp where we're going to get really clear on what your big goal is for the next quarter. And then we're going to get to work making it happen. If you have a big goal, a big project that you've been hesitating on pulling the trigger on, and you need some help, assistance, guidance, mentorship, and encouragement in order to keep you focused and on point to move that forward, the Get Shit Done Bootcamp could very well be for you. If you're interested, type bootcamp in the comments below and shoot Eric or I a direct message, and we can have a chat about it. But We are going to be rolling out our first Get Shit Done bootcamp. Very exciting stuff. If that sounds appealing to you, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to kick your productivity into high gear, get more done in 3 months than you did all of last year, then the Get Shit Done bootcamp, you're going to love it. We're going to start by getting super clear on your goals. Then we're going to jump into work parties where you're going to be knocking out the essential action items each and every day that you need to do in order to make your goals reality. You're going to be teamed up with an accountability partner, perhaps even an accountability team, and you're going to be working each and every day moving forward. We're going to do some mindset stuff. We're going to have lots of Q&A and problem solving to keep you on track and keep you driving your own bus each and every day. If you're having a hard time doing it alone, join us. GetShitDone.com. And let us know if you're interested in the boot camp, and we'll hop on the phone and have a chat about it. Eric, what would be your big goal, like big 12-week goal? If you were to enroll, which I'm guessing you will, in the Get Shit Done boot camp.
Right.
What would be the big thing that you want to work on or accomplish in that period of time?
I mean, my weekly webinar campaign. Yeah. That's something that's going to take continual work to refine and recreate. And that's something that I want to keep pushing out for a long duration and get better at, and just keep improving and working on.
Great. And so over the course of 12 weeks, roughly 90 days, if you were doing weekly webinars, presumably you'd be focused on selling Kagan.
Mm-hmm.
What is a reasonable but like motivating goal that you'd want to hit? Like, how many would you want to sell
in 12 weeks?
How many people? I don't know. Do you think about how many ionizers you want to sell, or how many people you want to recruit, or how do you think about it?
Right. I mean, I guess I think about it like how many new awesome active team members I would want to start working with.
Awesome team members do you want to recruit?
Right. In 12 weeks. I mean, a minimum of like 20 like awesome people that want to really kick ass with this and, run with it with me.
Great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like the idea. I'm not suggesting that you reduce your goal, but I like the idea of doing a weekly webinar and saying, hey, everybody, I'm only accepting one new team member each week. It might be you, but you're going to have to show me that you want it. I'm not growing my team too fast because I really want to spend my time working with you individually and in groups to help you succeed. And I want to be sure that I'm choosing the right people to build my team and that I'm not just accepting anybody in who will give me money.
Yeah, I do like that idea.
And so
for a number of reasons.
Like if you recorded, what would happen if you recruited 12 awesome team members in 12 weeks? Like I like it because there's an urgency to it. There's some exclusivity to it, and it's legit too. It's like, look, I'm not going to add too many people too fast here because it's, if you're too slow to move and you seem like you're awesome, that's cool, but you're going to have to go on a waiting list.
Right.
To work with me.
Yep.
Right. And then hold on to it and then like do it for 12 weeks. And then after 12 weeks, if you're like, oh, I can actually handle a lot more, you follow up with everybody and like land 12 more. Like, if but I would really encourage you to find a number that resonates, and maybe it's 20. Maybe you'll accept 2 people on each webinar. Problem solved. Yep.
Sure.
You can do 24. Do you have people fill out any type of an application during the call booking time?
they don't fill out an application during the booking call, but there's a pre-call conversation that I have with them where I get a sense of where they're at, what their, biggest pain points and struggles are that they're trying to overcome, and also what kind of goals that they're working towards, like financial goals, and ultimately, what they're wanting to create in their life
Do you
aside
have a
from
list? Do you
financial
have a
goals.
list of questions you ask them?
I mean, it's not a big list. It's basically just a couple of simple things.
Write those questions down,
Mm-hmm.
and then put them on, like, put a survey together, like a Google form or something,
Okay.
on the thank you page after they book their call. Say, take a moment to fill these questions out now to bring me up to speed about who you are and what you're all about before our call.
Yeah, no, that's
This is
important.
required. If you skip this step, your call will be canceled. Right?
Yep.
And then ask them the questions right there, because that will give them a chance to actually think about the questions before you get on. And I'm not saying skip that pre-call, but you might end up being able long-term to skip the pre-call. Is if you can get everybody to answer those questions after they book, then you're going to know what you're dealing with when you go into the call.
No, exactly. Because the answers people give me really tells me a lot about how serious they are, where they're at, if they can afford to work with me, if they have what it takes to do something with this. I mean, some people just give me one-word answers,
Right.
and I sometimes don't respond to them. And
I've had an interesting thing. So people have been, so when people book a hypnosis session with me, they have to book the call, and choose the time slot, but they also have to answer a bunch of questions. And I've had a bunch of clients where I was pissed because they gave me one-word answers to these questions. I'm like, you're not even telling me anything about yourself, and we're supposed to do a hypnosis session together. Where's your commitment to yourself?
Yeah.
Slack ass, and every single, even when people are slackers about taking the time to fill out the intake form, most of them show up to the calls because they paid for them, first of all.
Okay.
Like
Sure.
The vast majority, 90% of people who book a hypnosis session show up.
Yep.
And so the more unintelligible the answers are, either English is a second language or they're just not putting in the effort, right? Sometimes it's dyslexia or a learning disability that can be a factor, but I found that that's not, that's fairly rare that it impacts it that hard. But I've had people pay, hundreds of dollars for hypnosis sessions and then give one-word answers, and I was irritated. But then it turned out that the call went awesome. I had to ask the questions.
Right. Yeah, you
again.
did mention that the other day.
I had to ask the questions again or get more clarity. So I would encourage you, respond to everyone until your schedule is so overloaded that you can't anymore.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, I would work in a Google form into your process.
Yep.
Where when they're booking calls, and get those questions answered early if possible. It'll probably improve the call. It'll probably improve the quality of the person. They'll probably think through it a little bit more. That's generally a pretty good idea. It can also cause you to, if they're required to answer before their call, it can cause drop off if the questions are too aggressive. People will skip it because it's too much effort. So that one way around that is, since you've talked to a lot of people, you already know the top 3 answers that everyone's going to give you. So what you do is make those questions multiple choice with a write-in.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
What best describes you? A, B, C, or other. Right.
Yep.
And that's a way to make the form easier to fill out, so it's smoother, takes less effort, but it also gives people the opportunity to type in something unique and individual if they are engaged in that way and are willing to take the time.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're committed and like wanting to be the chosen one for that week. If I'm only accepting
I like
one
that.
new client,
Calling them the chosen one. I like
because
that.
if I'm only accepting one person a week
The
to work
chosen one.
one-on-one with me, they're going to have to show me a high level of commitment to themselves and to wanting to be like a really great student and
Yeah, I like
all,
that.
all of that. Yep.
No, that's badass. You
Yep.
could, I want to use that. You could,
Yeah, use it.
you could, what I'm also thinking about is, dude, okay, check this out.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
first and foremost, highly recommend that you do live stream interviews with everyone on your existing team.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Some of them won't do it. I realize that doesn't change the intention. The intention is to do a live stream with every single one of those people on your existing team, right? To help them break the barrier themselves of fear and like breaking the broadcasting barrier, right? Like get them on screen, get them over it, help to warm them up. Even if they never do anything with Kagan, put a positive spotlight on them, make them look good,
Okay. This is everybody on my downline and upline, or what?
Step one. Well, step one is downline.
Downline, yeah.
Okay. Upline, great, but people on your upline probably are already, those are going to be more inspiring and educational calls for everybody else. But I'm specifically talking about your downline right now.
Right. Okay.
And some of the people, basically, what I'm saying is look for early signs of co-host material. So,
right.
Just like you and I mean, we've been kind of working at this for a while. We've obviously been doing the Get Shit Done show for a month, but prior to that, we did a bunch of stuff a couple of years ago with Get Shit Done and done some live streaming and some social videos and some other stuff. But like, it's not like you were super used to getting on camera beforehand, and like doing lots of lives or whatever, I don't think you were doing a lot.
I had some, but yeah, I still had, I think, probably a lot more resistance to it back then than I do currently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So getting people practiced at getting on camera that are in your downline is going to be really good for them and really good for you. And so, and like, if you can, pipe it into your group, though it's a little difficult right now, at least with StreamYard, to pipe stuff into groups. Doesn't matter. Point is, you can always share it with your group later. If you're doing a weekly webinar, one of the things that you can do is bring your downline, introduce your downline on the webinar, or at least introduce the members of your downline who are reasonably good on camera, inspiring, have something to say, are positive, optimistic, willing to play. Like, you don't want to bring Debbie Downer onto the onto the live stream, or you don't want to give somebody who's like a total shit show. Like, that's not going to help you, right? On the other hand, if you have a few members in your downline that are like cool and they want to get good and they want to get better and they're interested in engaging and like doing something that makes them nervous and getting out of their comfort zone a little bit, then the chosen one not only is working with you, but you're joining us, and we're only accepting one person each week. That's the deal. Will you be the chosen one? Let's find out. Let me tell you a little bit about what people on our team are all about. There are a few characteristics that we really like to highlight here, and like all this kind of stuff. But yeah, and you can do the chosen one for as long as you want. And then if you want to ramp it up to 2 people, you could call it the chosen 2, whatever.
Right.
Then there's the chosen few. But the chosen one is pretty sweet. I think that it's cool. It sounds mystical. It creates urgency and scarcity, right?
And it gives them a great opportunity to really get hands-on, one-on-one guidance.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so that's all pretty cool stuff, right? And letting people like decide whether or not they're ready to join the fold. Are you guys ready to take it up to the next level? If so, cool. One of you is going to be chosen this week. Who's it going to be?
Right.
Like, tell me in the comments. If you think it's going to be you, tell me why it should be you in the comments. Like, let them compete, like live during the webinar.
Yeah, I like
Before they
that.
even fill out the application,
Yep.
That could be fun. Well, I'm for one very interested in doing some Get Shit Done webinars with you.
Great.
And
yeah, I'd be into that.
And selling a wide variety of Get Shit Done stuff in the process. So like, I bet we could do some really interesting things with that. So Get Shit Done webinars coming to a laptop near you, coming to a Zoom install near you. Rock and roll. Well, we've been going for a little over an hour today. Is there anything else? Oh, we haven't done our Pure Path to Prosperity commercial.
Oh, yeah. Let's wrap up with that. And then I probably got to get on this training here in a minute.
Oh, yeah. That's just about to start.
Day 3 is what time is it?
It's 1:15.
Oh, it's 1:15. I got a little bit of time. Yep. Okay. So the Pure Path to Prosperity is the Facebook group that I created recently. We already have over 300 members in it. And yeah, it's a great spot to learn all about inspiring things that'll help you transform your life, take control of your circumstances instead of just being the victim of it. You get to create your circumstances. And specifically, I'm going to be launching weekly webinars in that space. And I already presented my very first one a couple of nights ago. And if you want to check that out, go to Pure Path of Prosperity, Pure Path to Prosperity. The link is in the description of this video. And yeah, I'll see you on the inside. And if you want to see the recording, the replay of my very first webinar ever, drop prosperity in, or reach out to me and tell me you want to see it. I'd love to show that to you and share that with you.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, if you want to supercharge your network marketing game, go join the Pure Path to Prosperity, and perhaps you too will be the chosen one.
Maybe.
That's right. Awesome. But seriously, good group. Awesome, Eric. Way to go. I'm really glad you're doing webinars and kind of have broken the seal on that and jumped into this training. You're making great progress. And
Thank you.
It's great to see how much action you've taken this month. Like you've done a lot of stuff this month. Thanks.
Yeah, it feels good.
Awesome. Rock and roll. Well, guys, if you're interested in if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get more shit done, there's one place to go. Can you guess what it is?
GetShitDone.com.
GetShitDone.com. That's the place we get shit done. All right. This is Tellman. That's Eric. Thank you guys for tuning in as always, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for episode 31. Over and out.
Over and out.
Bye-bye.